Hey guys, I'm Jacob. You're watching the Prepper's Bunker Outdoors. I wanted to do this quick video about my favorite pocket knife of 2021. These are not knives that came out in 2021. They are knives that I have been testing and reviewing, and we're just going to talk about which one I like the best for 2021. So to get started, let's talk about my favorite knife, dollar for dollar. We've got two more budget-oriented knives here, the Zancudo and the Kershaw Leek. And I've got to say, the Kershaw Leek would be my preferred knife, dollar for dollar. If I was doing like a regular person's job, had a regular person's life, worked a normal factory, worked a normal office, nothing hardcore, just need to slice stuff, I think the edge holding is phenomenal. I think the price is great. They're made in the USA. I think 14C28N or whatever is a super underrated steel. I think it really, I think just the build quality, the materials used, everything is just really nice. The Zancudo, there's nothing wrong with it necessarily. My first one wasn't good, but this one's been holding up. But there's nothing about it that's made me really appreciate it. All right, now let's talk about my third favorite knife for 2021, regardless of price. This is actually the hardest one, and it really came down to the Spyderco and the PM2 and the Hogue, Doug Ritter RSK G2, Generation 2. The Spyderco has a compression lock, very handy. The Hogue has a able lock, also very handy. Both one hand usable. I prefer in hand. I think the handle on the Hogue is more comfortable. But let me say really quick, both of these knives have sentimental value. This one because I like to support knife rights and Doug Ritter, and I think it's a great cause. This one because it's a gift from my dad. I have to say, in this video, I'm not going to have sentiment, allow sentiment to have any play in my decision here. I've got to say, I narrowly prefer using the PM2, and the reason is that fine tip is just so nice to use. For my everyday stuff, I find, I'm slicing, and it's very nice. In the bush, I definitely prefer taking the RSK, but it's very close. These two knives both see a lot of pocket time. The PM2 shows it a lot more, which I'm not saying that's a bad thing. I like that, but the Hogue probably doesn't look new, but could be dolled up to look new. And they've got the same amount of carry time. It's just the finish, the different style finishes. Now, I will say if I had these with the orange scales and the black blade, that might be enough to make me like the Hogue more. That's how close these two knives are. All right, my second favorite knife. Hold that thought. Sorry about that. My second favorite knife was in my pants, and I am in gym shorts, just got back from physical therapy. It is the Hogue EX02. This is my most carried knife, my second favorite knife. I like that it has a secondary lock because liner locks can have what's called lock bouncing, I believe is the term, where if it were to be chopped or batoned or whatever, the lock can flex and then pop or something like that. So if I were to be in the bush batoning or something like that, which will happen, I don't know, it hasn't happened yet, probably because I'm always have a fixed blade, but that's a nice little feature for a hard use knife. I love the large, comfortable handle. This thing right here doesn't look like it, but it makes for a perfect choil for me. I really like it with the jimping on the back. I've used it so much like this, never had an issue. It's like the perfect combination of weight, handle size and comfort, and blade length and comfort for me. Love it. You can see the wear on it When I first got it, it was a little bit sticky, a little bit hard to unlock that liner lock, a little bit stiff, but it's loosened up nicely. Very underrated blade. It is 154 cm. I don't know that I wish they would upgrade to M390. I do think that the S35VN is a bit of an upgrade, but I do think that when it comes to stropping, the S35VN and the 154 cm are quicker to do, a little bit easier to maintain, and still last a really long time. And the 390 or CPM 20CV can take a little longer. So I do think a little bit of an upgrade would be nice. I do believe that I do notice a difference between the S35VN and the 154 cm. However, I just spent all of that time to talk about how I would potentially like to see this knife upgraded. And what I really want to say is that I think people care too much about the knife steel. 154 cm I think is perfectly acceptable, borderline fantastic, not much difference. And if it affected the price more than $20, I would probably stick with the 154 cm with where I'm at in my little bladed journey after a lot of hard use. So the first, my favorite knife of the year is not the one that I carry the most. The Half-Breed Blades Large Bush Folder S35VN. Why don't I carry my favorite blade the most? It's a freaking pound. And that's usually not a problem for me, like in my normal work pants or whatever. But when I'm wearing my Duluth Dry on the Fly pants, the pockets, which I wear those a lot, actually shorts, the pockets are the same stretchy material as the pants, and it's not comfortable. But in normal pants, you know, it doesn't bother me. The weight doesn't bother me. I love carrying it. It's not an unpractical blade besides the weight. And the weight for your everyday life isn't a problem. If you're wearing normal pants, isn't a problem for me, and neither is the size. That's a whole lot of titanium right there. It's freaking legit. But the edge geometry is quite thin. It slices fantastically. It holds an edge fantastically. I think the quality is just on the money. I love using it. And I don't think it's necessarily sentimental to say that just using the knife is fun to me. So I'm trying not to grade these knives on sentimental things. Like, this is one of my favorite folders, period, because of Knife Rights. This is one of my favorite folders, period, because my dad gave it to me, and I think it was a on-the-money gift. This is one of my favorite folders. It's not very sentimental. I think it's like borderline the perfect combo of weight and size and performance and price. But this one makes me happy, guys. I need to do my full impressions video on it later. Do I kind of wish it had a secondary lock, since it is a liner lock, to keep from lock bounce or something? Yes, I do. They do suggest not to use it batoning. If I'm going to have a knife this big, right, then if I want to pound it through some wood or something, I want to be able to do that confidently. And we will do it, but I'm going to wear some gloves, you know. But, man, the action's so smooth. It's just, guys, it's just fun to use. It's fun to open. It's fun to carry. It slices great. It feels great in hand. It is enjoyable to cut with. And all of these knives are, but this one's just the most fun. Maybe a little goofy. It's my favorite knife of 2021. You know, maybe 2022 will be completely different because I'll have different knives. Who knows? I mean, like, listen. Jeez and crackers, it's a beast. Runner-up, and also a sentimental knife, the Spyderco Smock. Really like this thing. This is a DLT exclusive, an M390. At first, I wasn't really sure about the edge geometry and the blade profile and everything. I wasn't sure about this little swooshy swoosh. I was like, what's that for? It could have probably been in the top 3, But to me, this is more of a gentleman's knife, and I think the Kershaw Leek does the gentleman's knife roll a little bit better, a little bit smaller, a little bit lighter. It is a very comfortable knife. My only thing is, and I will do a full review on this, I don't mind the lock. However, it's got this South African flipper opener here, and I think if it had a little bit of jimping on the top here, it would be easier to open using that method. And the Spidey hole here, if it's a little bit easier to get to and a little bit larger hole, it would be a little bit easier to use that method. But neither is quite as easy as I would like. It's easy enough. I think it's a fantastic knife, but just not quite good enough to get into the top 3 roll. So there you have it. This is just a quick, easy video. I hope that you enjoyed it. I know that I'm not the pocket knife master. I'm not. This is obviously, I only have a couple folders. I didn't include my Swiss Army knives because I feel like they're in a different category. I didn't include the slip joints because I feel like they're in a different category. But that's what I got. I will say on the EXO2, yes, I always get mixed up between my EXF01 and my EXO2. And I always think that my F is for fixed, I think. But when I think F, I think folder. Anyways, I always get them mixed up. I wish their setup was a little easier to differentiate there. But anyways, I'm going to put this on the workshop sharp. This will be the first knife that I work sharp, and then I'll do my initial impressions on this. I'm really stoked on this guy here. But I think this is a convex edge. It's a little bit over 20 degrees, I believe. I'm going to probably put a 20 or a 17 degree flat edge on it so that I can have a repeatable edge, get a little bit more sliciness. But this knife, for how beefy it's built and everything, is surprisingly slicey. And again, I carry it the most because it's, to me, the most practical. So that's it, guys. I'm not the fancy blade centering guy. I don't have a bunch to say about washers. The only thing that and all that other stuff that a lot of the actual folding knife people talk about, the only thing that I will say, the biggest downside for me for the Hogue folders is that the manual that it comes with says if you disassemble it, you void the warranty. I don't like that. I don't like that at all. I think that's awful. Now, I will say this one started gumming up a little bit. I dropped some knife pivot lube in there. It cleaned right up. It was fine. I've never had any issues with this one, but like, what if I want to buy some aftermarket scales for this? What if I want to get some orange scales for this? Like, of course, I could just not tell them or something if I needed a warranty, but I don't know. I feel like if you're going to have an enthusiast grade folder that's saying disassembly of the folder will void the warranty is the wrong answer. So that's the only thing I've got to say about the Hogues. Still love using them. So let me know what you think in the comments section below. Let me know what you think about these knives if you have them. And I look forward to talking to you, and I hope that you have a blessed day.